The Champions League squad announcements have dropped, and while most attention goes to star-studded lineups set to grace Europe's biggest stage, this season has brought some genuinely shocking omissions. We're not talking about fringe players or aging veterans. We're looking at established internationals, big money signings, and players expected to be crucial parts of their club's European campaigns. Starting with one of the most eyebrow-raising situations at Liverpool, Federico Chiesa's omission represents a massive disappointment for a player who just seemed to be getting his Anfield career started this season. Chiesa's exclusion stings particularly because he lost out in essentially a straight battle with 17-year-old Rion Gumoha for the final squad spot. This isn't about being overlooked for established stars like Salah or Gakpo. This is about being considered less valuable than a breakthrough teenager. The technical explanation involves Liverpool's homegrown player regulations, but the reality damages Chiesa's ego more. Liverpool could have registered 25 players but chose to submit only 22 names because they can't register more than 17 non-homegrown players. Chiesa, despite being a European Championship winner with Italy, was deemed expendable in favour of giving Gumoha first-team exposure. This decision feels harsh, given Chiesa had started showing glimpses of potential after a slow Anfield start. Under Arne Slot's management, he seemed to be finding his feet, making his exclusion unnecessarily brutal. The message is clear. Liverpool see more long-term value in Gumoha than integrating Chiesa into their system. To the Emirates now, Gabriel Jesus, finding himself absent from Arsenal's Champions League squad, raises serious questions about both his recovery timeline and his future at the club. The Brazilian has been sidelined since January with an ACL injury requiring surgery and hasn't featured this season. What makes this particularly intriguing is Arsenal's decision to include teenage sensation Max Daumann instead of the experienced international. Jesus suffered his injury in that brutal FA Cup match against Manchester United in January, and 8 months later, he remains on the outside looking in. While he's recently returned to individual grass training after his lengthy rehabilitation, predictions suggest he won't be match ready until November. Arsenal have a spare squad slot, and Jesus boasts an excellent Champions League record, making his omission feel less about fitness and more about a statement regarding his long-term role at the club. Speaking of statements, what's happening at Stamford Bridge with Facundo Buonanotte is particularly cruel. The 20-year-old Argentine attacking midfielder, who registered 5 goals and 2 assists for Leicester during their Premier League relegation campaign, joined Chelsea on a season-long loan from Brighton. Chelsea swooped in last minute, beating Leeds United to his signature for a reported £2 million in loan fees. Days after completing his move and speaking about his Champions League dreams, Buonanotte discovered he wouldn't be registered for the competition. The cruel irony is palpable. In his first Chelsea interview, he specifically mentioned his excitement about playing Champions League football for the first time. Chelsea could only register 23 players despite being allowed 25 due to insufficient homegrown players. Buonanotte's exclusion wasn't tactical, it was administrative, making it feel impersonal and devastating for a player who had just expressed his European ambitions. Perhaps nowhere has squad mismanagement been more evident than at Tottenham, where Mathis tells exclusion has sent shockwaves through the fan base. Tell's story epitomises everything wrong with Spurs' recent transfer strategy. Initially brought in from Bayern Munich in January on loan for £8.7 million, Tottenham paid a further £30 million to make the deal permanent during the summer, a combined investment of nearly £40 million for Son Heung-min's supposed successor. The anger from Tottenham supporters is completely justified. Tell was marketed as the future of the club's attack, yet Thomas Frank decided he's surplus to European competition requirements. The situation became clear when Tottenham brought in Randall Kolo Muani on loan from PSG on deadline day, another non-homegrown player who somehow found his way into the Champions League squad ahead of Tell. What makes this particularly embarrassing is Tottenham could only register 22 players out of 25 possible due to failing to meet homegrown regulations. They literally couldn't fill their squad, yet Tell still couldn't make the cut. The optics are terrible, a club that can't properly plan squad composition while simultaneously wasting massive investments on unused players. The ripple effects extend beyond Tell. His teammate Yves Bissouma has also been left out, though his exclusion tells a different story about Tottenham's dysfunction. The midfielder has fallen out of favour due to disciplinary issues and inconsistent performances, with reports suggesting repeated lateness to training sessions. Bissouma's omission feels more justified than Tell's, given his off-field issues and the emergence of younger midfield options like Archie Gray and Lucas Bergvall. Joao Palhinha's lone arrival from Bayern Munich further pushed Bissouma down the pecking order. Unlike Tell's exclusion, which feels like poor planning, Bissouma's absence reflects Frank's emphasis on discipline and reliability. Moving to France, Presnel Kimpembe's absence from PSG's Champions League squad has raised some eyebrows. The defender's omission represents the only notable absence from Luis Enrique's European selection, suggesting the PSG academy graduate should leave the capital club. Kimpembe's situation is particularly poignant given his club history. A PSG academy product with the first team since 2014, he's won multiple League One titles and reached a Champions League final. After undergoing Achilles tendon surgery in January 2024, which kept him out the entire 2023 to 2024 season, Kimpembe made his return in February 2025 against Le Mans in the Coupe de France, almost 2 years after his injury. Despite his recent return from lengthy injury layoff, Kimpembe is reportedly in advanced talks to join Qatar Sports Club, representing the end of a 20-year PSG association for a player once considered fundamental to their project. Finally, Neil Maupay at Marseille caps off a summer of uncertainty and rejected moves. His situation perfectly encapsulates modern football reality, where players find themselves in limbo despite being under contract. Roberto De Zerbi has made abundantly clear that Maupay doesn't feature in his plans, yet the striker remains at the Velodrome due to lack of concrete interest from other clubs. The forward came close to moves to both Sassuolo and PAOK Thessaloniki, with the Greek club particularly keen to register him for European competition. However, tight deadlines and complicated negotiations meant neither transfer materialised, leaving Maupay uncomfortably unwanted but unable to leave. His exclusion from Marseille's Champions League squad alongside Ulisses Garcia, Paul Lirola, Amin Harit and goalkeeper Ruben Blanco represents harsh modern squad management reality. These aren't tactical decisions based on form or fitness, they're administrative choices designed to force players toward exit doors. What these cases collectively demonstrate is how Champions League squad announcements have become as much about sending messages as selecting the best available players. Each omission tells stories about club priorities, player relationships, and increasingly complex administrative aspects of modern football. As we head into the new Champions League season, these omissions will serve as fascinating subplots to monitor. Will any of these players force their way back into contention? Will exclusions motivate them to prove doubters wrong or accelerate departures that might have happened anyway? One thing is certain. With a few days left in the European window, don't be surprised if several of these names are on the move soon. Whose exclusion do you think was the most shocking? Let us know in the comments. Remember to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to the channel. Also, be sure to turn on bell notifications so that you never miss out on any new videos. Catch you in the next one. Bye.
Well, you've asked for it and we've finally delivered. Relive the glory days with the most iconic designs in football history. Whether you're a fan of classic club colours or legendary international strips, we've got something to ignite your nostalgia. Perfect for match days, casual wear or adding to your collection. Shop the new retro range now at goal90.shop. Massive discounts await.